How do you stop lifestyle creep from kicking in?
Oof, this is difficult. Okay.
Yeah. Dear Fi Guys, my partner, 24, and I, 26, are living in a world we never thought we'd reach so soon. We're dinks. Is that a new swear word? What is that, Chris? What is that? Dual income, no kids. Makes sense. Pulling in
What'd you
more.
call me?
Yeah, what'd you call me? Freaking dink? Freaking dink? Is that like a fop? I'm not gonna give that acronym on stream, but you can probably Google it if you'd like. A lot of those kinds around these parts. Anyway, that being said, pulling in more money than we ever have, and for the first time in our lives, money isn't an immediate source of stress. We both grew up poor, every dollar stretched, every purchase debated, and just because spending wasn't a thing. Understandable. I feel like a lot of people can actually relate to that. Last year, we even bought our first home. Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
We should be feeling on top of the world, right? In theory. Yeah, depending on who you listen to. Yeah. And yet, here I am, staring at my online shopping cart, asking myself, am I slowly becoming the person I used to roll my eyes at? How about that? I'm not talking about designer bags or luxury vacation, though let's be real, the temptation is there. It's the little things, stuff that isn't really expensive, but also isn't cheap. It's a nicer version of something I already own, a subscription I might use, upgrading things that still work just fine, nothing still, okay, gotcha. So it's like, kind of like if you have a blender and you have like the generic Walmart blender and it's like, no, I want to get a NutriBullet now. Now I'm living big. Where's my like NutriBullet, my Ninja blender? Totally understand. Dangerous, but I understand. Let's see. So continuing on, nothing individually catastrophic, but cumulatively. Gotcha. I worry I'm watching lifestyle creep sneak into my life like an uninvited guest who slowly makes themselves at home. A year ago, I felt laser focused, save, invest, stay disciplined. Now I catch myself justifying the splurges. Well, we can afford it, or we deserve nice things since all those years we had to struggle. And maybe we do. But I also know how easy it is to let the reasoning spiral into a lifestyle that eats up every financial freedom we worked so hard to get. So, Fi Guys, let me know. How do you check yourself before lifestyle creep takes the wheel? How do you differentiate healthy enjoyment from slow financial sabotage? And if you do allow for lifestyle upgrades, how do you justify them without falling into the trap of wanting more and more and more? Looking forward to your insights before my Amazon cart gets any fuller. We climbed from broke to stacking cash, but we're burning it just as fast. How about that? Well, I know one person who's dying to hear your opinion on this, and that is my cat right outside in the hallway playing with a little toy. I don't know if you guys can, hopefully didn't pick it up on the microphone, but her and I kind of taught her how to play fetch, and now it's kind of bite me in the butt when I close the door to record these wonderful podcasts. So if you hear a little meow, it's from our smallest listener. So with that being said, Chris, let's get into what you think they should do. This is an interesting one, right? I maybe even a little bit of personal experience too in this one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
First off, I want to define lifestyle creep so people can understand what that means. And what it means is that there's just subtle, small, justified upgrades to your life that you deserve that compound over time. So the best way to think of lifestyle creep is, think to our listeners back when you first maybe moved out of your parents' house, got your first like 1-bedroom apartment or your little studio, and you're like, yes, I made it. And then you went and got your big boy job. You got your big boy or big girl job, started making some money. You're like, all right, well, now I need a new car to justify the more money. Got your new car. Well, now I'm looking around my supplies. I got a bunch of IKEA stuff. It's time to go. And I'm going to go to, I don't know, American Furniture Warehouse or wherever. I'm going to start upgrade. Well, my bed's not as nice. Newer bed, newer everything. Everything keeps on going up. As your lifestyle, as your money increases, so does your lifestyle. And this is the difference between intentional lifestyle design and mindless spending. And it sounds like that's what our listener is asking the question. How do I intentionally design my life and not just mindlessly spend? And then in 10, 15 years, this is what majority of people do. They finally wake up for the first time and they're like, what the hell happened? How did I end up in this situation? How are my fixed costs so high? How is all this happening? And a lot of it was because they mindlessly went through life just spending, making money, making money. And it's no one's fault. I mean, I guess it's everyone's fault, and it's no one's fault individually, because this is the system that we're born into. I can understand how when you grow up poor, because I have this myself, you have a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. And that scarcity mindset says, hey, you have it right now, spend it. Like, get it while the going's good, because we don't know when this is going to get turned off. And then that can very easily turn from that scarcity mindset to I deserve this mentality, which is valid. You do deserve this. You have worked hard. And you need to realize when that feeling is a trap. It's a trap that you're springing on yourself and you're falling into every single time. Additionally, we also have 10,000 years of human evolution working against us in our dopamine response. And dopamine doesn't release once we get the thing we want. It's the seeking molecule. It's the thing that says, once you have this next thing, you will finally be happy. You seek to get it. Puts in your Amazon shopping cart. Oh, it feels so good. Press that shopping button, still feels good. Then you get it. You're like, yes, I got it. And then it goes away. Dopamine stops. Serotonin releases for a second. That's a real quick hit, like a snap of the finger. You feel great, and then it goes away. Now, what do I have to do? I have to seek again. I have to seek again. So a lot of it, and I know you're going to hate this answer, is going to come down to you have to be mindful. You need to actually think about what is most important to you. You said it yourself. When you were going through life and you had to save the money, it was easy for you because necessity breeds the best form of incentive. Now, what can we do to have a new goal? Because right now that the pressure is kind of laid off, this is where most of the issues happen. You know, the pressure's off. I'm not really trying. I can kind of coast. Think about like going to the gym, right? And you're like, I have a goal. I want to run a marathon, or I want to compete inside of a bodybuilding competition, whatever it is. You're going to go there and you're going to work so hard. You're going to be disciplined on your diet, disciplined on waking up, sleeping, all that stuff. And then the moment that you're done with it, you're like, all right, well, the next one isn't for like 6 years, or like, maybe I'll compete, maybe I won't compete. You know, who knows? Then everything just goes to hell in a handbag. You could have been the most disciplined person for a whole year, and then it all just goes away because your goal has changed. So maybe the goal, rather than being like, how much can I save for my house, can be how much money can I save? Like, let's try to gamify this, make it into a new game, change it to financial independence. How early can I retire? And that's going to be something that you and your spouse are going to have to play with. You know, if you want some like specifics, I would say let's set 5 to 10% for guilt-free spending every month. You know, if you guys are making, I don't know, let's say $10,000 after taxes, $1,000 guilt-free spending. Don't even worry about it. Just have fun with that. Everything above that, now we're starting to think about, why am I doing this? And that's really important. You have to check your why before making that purchase. Is this really adding to the real value of my life? Is this adding to the person that I want to be? Not just trying to make me fulfill some sort of a core need. Because whenever we purchase something, we're usually trying to buy an identity, a feeling, and I can't remember the third one. This is just off the dome.
Isn't it like to maybe like escape a fear or stop a fear from happening? Maybe it's kind of
that could be a feeling, an identity. Maybe the last one's a necessity. I can't remember right now.
Okay.
But you know, you have to ask that why, and then you need to make sure that as you upgrade, that you're doing it with intention. And so much of it comes down to that intentional living. So much of our life's woes comes down to just doing things habitually and mindlessly, without thinking. You just kind of go through life, and then the day that you wake up, through whatever method of doing that, whether that's working out or meditating or whatever, you wake up, you realize like, oh, I'm stuck in a trap. So as you upgrade in life, which you do deserve, you do have earned it. You need to ask yourself, if you buy this better version of something, does it actually improve your life on the long term? Or is it just something that makes you feel a little bit better? In here, you said you're kind of trying to decide between designer bags or luxury vacations. If it was me, I'm going luxury vacations all freaking day. Because we've talked about why I like vacations over purchases, and I'm going to stick with that forever. But everyone is different on the way that they look at things. If you need to, you can always implement a 24-hour, a 48-hour, a 72-hour purchase rule. If there is something that you want, it is not an immediate need, throw it in your shopping cart on Amazon, Put it in your wish list, write it down on a piece of paper for all I care, put it in your phone. If you still want that after 24, 48, 72 hours, go ahead and purchase it. You have the money. But don't just do things off of impulse. Again, that's when we're starting to come down into that lifestyle creep, doing things habitually, doing things mindlessly. So this all comes down towards building a FI lifestyle instead of the lifestyle creep that the average American is. That's why what we do here at the FI Guys, trying to become better with your money, is so different. It's, I think, better. I think it serves us in a better propensity than the normal way of doing things, but it is different. We have to define what treating yourself really means. Is it experiences? Is it flexibility? Is it investing in your health and your happiness? Or is it just purchasing things? Because most people go through life treating themselves by purchasing things. And they're not really treating themselves because they're hamstringing themselves to the job that they hate in order to buy more things. So what do you really want out of life? In order to create your rich life, you need to figure out what that means for you by assessing your values. What's actually going to fulfill you? And what's actually going to fulfill you, most likely, is not just spending more money. I want you to start to learn, as you already have, that you want to invest in your future freedom rather than temporary enjoyment. So make a game out of it. You can justify every purchase. Your brain is the perfect lawyer that knows every single argument, every single mental trap that you're going to fall into that's going to justify you to do it. It's the exact same thing of when you set an alarm saying, I'm going to wake up at 5 and I'm going to go on that run. I'm going to wake up at 4 and I'm going to spend time with my kids. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do it. And the moment the alarm goes off, you have every single reason. And every reason is justified to stay in bed. Yet you know for yourself that if you get out of bed and you work a little bit harder, you do something, you're going to feel better about yourself than you do if you didn't. I always like this quote, remember tomorrow. And do what others won't today so that tomorrow you can do what others can't. You've got this. You're 24 and 26. You've already bought a house. I don't know where you guys are in America, but I'm jealous. So keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing. Make a game out of it. We're not the biggest people on rules here, but remember the 50-30-20 rule. 50% to your needs, 30% to your wants, 20% to savings. I've kind of changed it up and I go 50% to your needs, 30% to investing, 20% to your wants. But everyone's a little bit different. So figure out what's going to work for you. Test, and test. Test what future you wants to. I'm guarantee that if you start to focus on what future you want, try to connect with that person, it's going to be a lot better than what you're doing and mindlessly kind of going through life hoping. But it takes intention and it takes every single day working at it. There's not a day that you get to get off the treadmill and stop. That's not the way life works with this. It's not the way life works with most of anything.
True.
And,
Very true.
Do you have anything before I talked about my final thing?
I was going to say absolutely. I mean, starting with a nice budget, getting back to the basics they said that they were already great at budgeting, great at all this, saving, discipline, all that. They're great at it. They just kind of fell off a little bit, which is great, right? Which is great. It's like, okay, they have the muscle. So it's like, okay, it's not going to be as hard. It's like, if you lifted a lot in your 20s, stopped a little bit for a few years and you came back, it's easier to gain muscle than if you just starting in your 30s for the first time, right? You already have that discipline in you. So it's good. So you're almost there. And I love what you were saying, Chris, about, you have to start with why. Like, why are you doing this? Why is this? Why is that? Like we say, question everything and try and understand the reasoning behind the decisions you're making. Because I'm pretty sure they know. They know, I know, everybody knows that, say they buy that Louis bag for who knows how much, $2,000 or whatever, right? That's not nirvana. That's not, you're not going to be walking, you're not going to be walking above the earth anymore. It's not something that's going to happen. Like, life is not complete after a Louis bag is purchased. So like you said, I love what you do, Chris. You're so interesting with this. They're looking for answers and you give them more questions. And it's interesting because it shows that you don't have the answers. The answers can only be found in them. And I love that. Rather than being the hero of their story, you're forcing them to be the hero of their own story. And I love that. I really love that. So that is just my points, but feel free to continue on the path that you were on.
So I just have one more closing thought, and it's this. It is okay to spend money. And I know that's crazy coming from someone who is a financial professional to tell people that it is okay to spend money, but it is. We need to spend money. The only thing I would say to that is just make sure that you're spending in line with your values, spending towards the life that you actually want. I don't want you to get hunkered down and be like, oh, well, Chris told me only 5 to 10%, or he only said 10 to 20%. Like, life is meant to be lived. So you have to be able to figure out for yourself. Again, just like Dominic said a second ago, you have to be the hero of your own story. These general rules, these general guidelines, save this, save that, that's meant for general. But you are a specific individual. You and your spouse are specific individuals that you two only exist right here in this space and time. And what you guys need is going to change as life unfolds. So I encourage you to audit your spending. Look at it. If you need to go back and budget again, start doing that. And what you could do is every month, my wife and I still do this, go back and categorize every purchase, level 1 through 5. Level 1 is, I had this ability to make this purchase again today, I would do it in a heartbeat. Level 2 is like, I can go either way. Level 3 was like, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. There's nothing you can do about the past. But at least next time it comes back to the shopping cart, you're like, oh, wait, remember tomorrow. How am I going to feel about this decision tomorrow? Am I going to feel good about it when I look back at the end of the month and I get to be like, man, look at all these category 1s I gave. That looks awesome. Versus looking at it every month and being disappointed, being like, these are all category 3s. These are all red lights. I shouldn't have bought any of this stuff. And then you and your spouse, you have an amazing partner in that you guys have done this together. Hold each other accountable. Don't lecture each other. Don't try to like ward over each other if one of you is better at it than the other. But be a team on this stuff and hold each other accountable in the most loving way possible. I have to make that very clear. In the most loving way possible. Don't try to judge over anybody. I know typically what happens is usually the female spends more than the male, and then the male will shame the female, and it works in both directions. So just don't shame, come from a place of understanding. It's always better.
Yeah.
It's almost always better.
Yeah. So those are some good, that last one was good insight. Very good insight. Very good insight. It's always come from a place of compassion, come from a place of understanding. Don't be judgmental. If money is already spent, money is already spent. You can only fix the future, not necessarily the past. So let's try and, walk a better path going forward. And yes, conversation and communication are so important in all relationships. But I hope that helps you. I hope that you can find the answers inside of yourself, because most of the answers for all of our problems are actually hidden behind meditation and thought, and really just understanding the problem and understanding yourself. So we wish you the best of luck with that. Any final thoughts, Chris, before we move on to win of the week?
No, I like what you said there. Like, most answers are hidden behind the curtain of the self. So look inside, because only you know the answer, because there are no real solutions, only trade-offs.
Yeah.
And the trade-offs that I make, the trade-offs that Dominic make, the trade-offs that you make are going to be different, because no one holds the future. And there isn't an objective truth to what's the right answer and wrong answer. There just isn't.
That being said, best of luck.
This video podcast is sponsored by Monzon Wealth. The content in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. We do not endorse specific products or services. Past performance does not guarantee future results. The opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests, not the podcast sponsor.
It is crucial to consult with a qualified financial advisor or professional who can provide advice tailored to your specific needs before making any financial decisions, investments, or taking any other actions. If you are seeking specified help, you can reach out to Chris at monzonwealth.com.